back corner when I'm not presenting.
Listening in.
And listen in.
Hey everybody, welcome to Bass University Live here on Tuesday night.
Take a quick break, watch John Cruz's on the Tokyo rig.
Be a part of the show, get some chances to win some awesome prizes.
It's Bass You Go. You know, we didn't have that back then. And dude, it could just...
That text thread gives me so much energy. I mean, like I'm dialed.
Welcome to Bass University Live Tuesday morning. Great to have you guys hanging out with us, talking fishing. Really great guest today, Cooper Gallant, qualified for the elites. There's a lot going on in the fishing world right now. Guys are moving around, switching trails. What's going to happen next year, who knows? But we know what's happening with Cooper Gallant. He's from Canada, came down, fished the entire open trail this year and qualified for the elites, including a big dub on Cherokee Lake. So going to be available for us to talk. You guys got questions? Let's have it. Let's see how he did it. I mean, man, it's you know, it's going to get harder and harder to do. GDP, good to have you with us in studio, but I mean, next year I think is going to be even tougher to get in through the opens, because I think we're going to have a lot of new faces to the opens, but not new to tournament fishing. Some serious hardcore veterans.
You're right for sure. Between the young guns and the vets that are coming in, man, I said it since the beginning. The Opens Trail is absolutely the toughest, and if you want to make the big show and you're going to qualify for the Elite Series, good luck. It's tough, man.
Yeah, it's going to get tougher. I know that. I've heard some marquee. We just kicked around Bobby Lane. I heard is probably going to fish. I heard potentially Ish Monroe is going to be jumping in the opens, and that's just, you know, some rumors. I don't have confirmation on this, but I've heard that they're thinking about doing it, and I bet you there's many others that are going to do it too. You know, so it's going to be like, right, we've got all the local sticks. We've got the guys that are battling to try to find get into the opens, and we've got those serious veterans now. So it's going to be an interesting open schedule. But we're going to be,
you know, real quick on that too, and the format's changing next year. They get limited practice.
Oh, that's right.
So that's going to change things.
It really is.
Because I think a lot of guys, and no offense, they spend, you know, weeks at a time on these places.
Go ahead, you can offend them.
I'm saying, like, if you
Fairy tale land.
if you truly want to be a professional bass fisherman on the Elite Series level,
You better figure it out in 2
guess
days.
what? Yeah, you get 2 or 3 days to figure it out, and if you know you're giving yourself weeks at a time to figure stuff out,
yep,
you won't be in for something on that one.
Yeah, you're not going to be ready, and and a lot of guys had, and you know, we like to be jealous of those guys, honestly, that were able to go from tournaments.
Been here for a month.
Three.
That's cool.
How cool would that be? Just travel around month after month, just going from body of water to body of water, trying to figure things out. Well, man, that's gone now, Rich.
Yeah, I thought a lot of people actually moved to Cecil County. I mean,
you're probably right.
The wrap trucks and boats, they were just everywhere for months. It seemed like great for business, you know what I mean? Great for the local economy, but it was crazy how long some of them were there. You know, it was like you called it, Pete. You're like, I promise you, when they leave Oneida, they're headed to the bay.
Yep.
You know, sure enough, they were. But you know, how often does the extremely long practice, does it actually hurt you though?
I think a lot.
Like, I know me, it would spin me out.
You know, the guy that can learn how to benefit from it is right. That's the key thing, is you got to be able to forget. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to use your practice wisely. Like spend a lot of time with sonar, looking at habitat and recognizing that, you know, fish don't do the same thing for very long.
Yep.
So the fish you caught a week ago are not going to be doing that. In addition, throw 200 boats on a body of water now. Yep. Like, you might have been there by yourself for 2 weeks. Those fish are going to behave a certain way. You put 200 guys practicing, showing them lures, sticking some of them, all of a sudden fishing pressure starts becoming the dominant factor to have to deal with. So, yeah, it's really hard to use a long practice.
It is.
Sure.
But there are guys that have been successful doing it. Not anymore. Not going to have that chance. You got, what, 2.5? No, it's
5 days.
It's 5 days.
Yeah.
Which is
Still a pretty long practice.
honestly, to me, that's the perfect amount.
Yeah, I would say you're right. You can get settled in,
Yeah.
do your thing, and then you don't have to rush as far as.
Don't have to rush.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think
Yes.
you're settled minded. You got time to do what you got to do. You can think properly.
Yes.
You know, you're like, oh my God, I got to go here.
Yeah, I got to cover this. I got to get to this lake arm or this.
You mean the 5 days seems the right, or the 2.5?
No, the 5 days for an Opens professional as a whole, even as Elite Series. If we had 4 days as an Elite Series guy, one extra day would just take the pressure off tremendously.
Right. It allows for a lot of things. Like if you're on big water and you've got a 30-mile-an-hour blow that day,
Exactly.
right? So you got to account for that day. You're going to be able to cover limited amounts of water.
Yep.
A breakdown, right?
Yep.
You're going to lose a day sometimes too, and that 5 days allows you to recover from that and still be able to practice and not be under the gun. Like I said, you can get in a hurry with a short practice and look at a stretch of water and just kind of blow through it because you have to, and you might miss something, you know. So that 5 days just really, and it'll also afford you the opportunity, which I like to do a lot, is get off the water. Sometimes one day, like that day before the event. If I feel comfortable, if I'm, I can get off the water, leave the fish on pressure, work on gear, get everything organized the way that I want to.
Control all the things that you can control. I've really come to, like, I find that as a really good strategy too. It's like the day before an event, just do make sure the tackle's perfect, the boat's perfect, all that stuff, so that when you launch, it's like you're not wondering about anything. All you got to do is just do your job and go catch a fish.
Yeah.
Right. And the other thing that you just said that was really, worth noting is when you have that extra time, it allows you to kind of slow down through areas rather than work through, like, when we're in practice mode, we're go, 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 go. But a lot of times I think that style of practicing and fishing actually slows us down, right? We're practicing fast and it slows us down. And what I mean by that is, like, we're practicing so fast that we're skipping over things and it takes us forever to figure something out. Whereas if you would have just slowed down in an area, get one bite turns into 2 bites, and then everything speeds up because you have, once you get those first couple bites, you start shortcutting the process through fish catches, right? Where when you're practicing and you're not getting bites, you're moving fast, but you're kind of slowing down the process because you're not getting bites.
Yeah, it's a complex situation. And how do you practice a wahi with 2.5 days?
Right.
I mean, you can't look at any of it.
Wide open, man.
It's crazy.
That's it.
It's like you're making it up as you go along, which is kind of cool, but that's a big body of water with limited practice time.
Rick Clunn did something he would break bodies of water down into quadrants, right? For like a 4-quadrant section, and then identify, which 2 were going to be his best opportunities.
That's
to
always
succeed.
been Ike's strategy as well.
Right. And then break your practice day up. Okay, spend 1 here, spend 2 there, and then the half day, dial it in on where it was better.
It makes sense totally, because in the event, a lot of times too, like, for an Elite Series tournament, a lot of times if we had 2.5 days of practice, I would take 2, and then that third day, prior to COVID, we had meetings, so I would do my tackle in the morning, go to the meeting, so I had 2 days of practice. But a lot of times, if you had it broke down like Rich said, you're practicing a lot in the event also, but it allows you to really dial in and break down. If you're in the right sections, that's the biggest player. That's the biggest thing to try to figure out.
Finding the right section.
Correct. And if you can put yourself in that position, even if you're still practicing, you'll come out on top a lot of times.
And I think that's over practicing, and we talked about those long practices. It can be a problem because what will happen is you fish areas and don't get bit, and you write them off.
Yep.
Right, where it might be in line with a developing pattern, but you just didn't get bit on it at the day that you were there, or the days you spent there. So not fishing everything is really important to me, to my game, because I can look at a piece of habitat fresh with fresh eyes, whereas if I threw a jig into that tree at practice and didn't get bit, I'm not as likely to fish that during the tournament. Whereas if I look at a tree and I'm like, wow, it's just right, it's on the outside bend or whatever, it's in line, and I don't even fish it. I won't even throw at it, and that I'm likely to fish it during the tournament. So you can definitely overfish. So let's talk. It's going to be interesting.
Right.
Cooper's going to dive in.
Does it.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do it.
And let's see how he did it. And we've got Scott Carlisle with us. Fresh. We got so many European vacationers this week at the Bass University.
Yeah, fresh back from Scotland.
Yeah, that was quite a trip.
Beautiful place. Yeah, they're all about the trout over there and the grayling.
Mm-hmm.
If they had largemouth, we might have extended that vacation, but they didn't. So.
You didn't bring any smallmouth to stock while you were
No,
over there?
I did look for the Loch Ness Monster.
Okay.
I can confirm that I may have seen something, but we won't go down that
On your
storyline.
Humminbird Live mega
on
image.
on my Mega Live, baby. That finds everything.
Found it.
That's all they need.
You can't hide, Nessie.
We're coming for you. Well,
Good deal.
It's good to have you back. And if Jocelyn, you're a world traveler.
I am.
New Orleans, Europe, you're all over the place.
Yeah, I did not fish at any of those. Don't worry. Not like Scott. Scott fished in Scotland.
Yeah, there you go.
Scotty.
Well,
It's a mouthful.
you got to see Italy and Switzerland.
I did, and it was absolutely amazing. I want to be back there right now.
Well,
Lots of history.
it's
there.
great. It's great to have you back.
Thanks.
And
Good to be back.
And I got to spend some time with you down at New Orleans at the ASA Summit, which, by the way, was an amazing event. Bass University attended, and we got to meet the movers and shakers, the presidents, the decision makers, the owners of really every business that is moving our industry. And it was really exciting opportunity. We got to meet so many great people and get a little bit more connected with the folks at the ASA, which is a fantastic organization that has really got the recreational anglers back. And you need to know that. And it was impressive to watch them work and, balance, environmental conservation with anglers' rights and rights to harvest. It's quite a task. It involves laws and politicians and governmental agencies, and they're doing a great job. And I want to give them a shout out too. I want also to Gene Gilliland of Bassmasters for helping us. And you can see we have an article on Bassmaster.com right now about anglers' access rights. If you're watching this show, you know what I'm talking about. You get a lake blocked off, you can't get here, they don't want you to fish there. Well, we as did the ASA, in helping us combat this and getting us access back to the waterways that we as fishing license holders should be able to fish. So the fact that the big organization like that would get involved in a little battle that we have going on says a lot, because they're working on those little issues because they're so important. Because if we can get shut out of a little body of water here, we could get shut out of anywhere. So ASA is really helpful in that, and there's so much going on in California and Florida and the rest of the country that they're involved with. So I appreciate them. And if you're a member of the ASA, highly recommend that you attend the ASA Summit next year. You'll find it, extremely valuable. So
if you know Ken Duke, he'll make sure you go.
There you go.
yeah,
Shout out to Ken Duke.
Yeah, shout out to Ken Duke, who paid me to say that. But we love Ken. We miss you, Ken. And it was great to see everybody down there at the summit. We're glad to be back. We're excited to be talking fishing. And as always, Jocelyn, we got some great prizes we're giving away.
We do. So if you're over watching on Facebook, go like and share the feed, and you will be entered in a chance to win a Champions box. And also, we're going to do a trivia question at the end, and the grand prize includes Waterwood custom baits with a Champions box. So there's a lot of opportunities to win
That's a
some
high
fun
dollar prize, so you want to pay attention.
And
Sure
a Bass
do.
you had too.
and a bash you
And
hat.
a Bass you had the highly coveted Bass University official hat. I'm wearing one right now. You can win one on the show.
Rich, how are we going to do that? Are we going to ask a question based on what we learned from the show today?
We're going to ask a question about something involving fishing.
No way.
Wow. We're not,
There you go.
We're not going to give away any hints yet, Pete. We're
Okay.
gonna have to be, but what you got to do is you got to stay dialed in. You got to watch the show, listen, take notes, sharpen your pencils, because we're bringing you the heat.
That's right. And we're giving away the goods. So we are brought to you by Tackle Direct. We are in Tackle Direct Studios, guys. And I want to invite you guys to go check them out. There's going to be a lot of great holiday stuff. And write this down. On the 15th, we are going to be live from Tackle Direct, and we are going to be doing some really cool live promotions, talking about some products. Maybe I have a few good buying opportunities for you guys on the 15th. So look for that. We'll keep you guys posted as we get closer to that date.
Yeah, Pete, quick note on that. Our newsletter this week, you'll be seeing some interesting offers coming from Tackle Direct. I'm a tackle junkie, so I find these deals. So I put some links out there to our membership, and they're going to love those discounts on some crankbaits. So check that out.
Our membership loves discounts?
Oh, God, yes.
It pays to be a subscriber.
Yeah.
It does. If you're not saving money with Bass Shoe, I don't know what's wrong with you.
We all love it. So get over there and get subscribed right now. We still have our Halloween promotion going on.
Halloween promotion's up. Save $60 on an annual. You gotta love that. You get a tackle pack. You get the Texas Chainsaw Massacre missile baits, baby D-bomb, and some hooks. You're good to go.
Texas Rig Chainsaw Massacre.
That's right.
You get that pun?
Everybody loves a good Texas Rig Massacre.
Yeah.
Setting the hook.
Everybody does. I had
Big
a
rod,
Texas
big
Rig
line.
Massacre down the Chesapeake.
Yes, you
Yep.
did.
Yep.
I also wanted to mention too, Hobie Eyewear, with all their proceeds that they're going to do from the 1st to the 11th, they will be donating 10% of all their proceeds back to the veterans. So they're going to do, it's called the Collection Back to the Warrior's Journey. So if you go to our member benefits, you can purchase Hobie Eyewear sunglasses, and 10% of that will go to the veterans.
I
Excellent.
love my Hobies, by the way. Like I never thought that I would like glasses better than the brand I was wearing before. But honestly, I love them. They are so comfortable. The lenses are phenomenal. They float. Like
They float.
They're
it's
light.
perfect.
They're
Yeah.
lightweight.
Yeah.
You get no fatigue, glass
No,
fatigue. They're pretty,
They're really, really good. They're really, really good glasses.
and they're really good at running too. I don't get that air infiltration where your eyes are watering. So when you're running 70 miles an hour, really, really great glasses. Check them out at Hobie Eyewear, and go over to, if you're a subscriber, we got some good stuff for you. Get over to members benefits page, and you can see that from Hobie Eyewear. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with Cooper Gallant. We're going to be talking qualifying for the elites. How did you do it? What's it look like for you next year? I can't wait to dive in. We'll be right back after this.
What's going on? It's Riz here from the Bass University, and I am excited to welcome in Waterwood Custom Baits to the Bass U family. These are custom handmade baits in the South Rainforest of Brazil. They're made of Marupa pedra wood. It's extremely dense, it's resistant, but it's also really buoyant. They're made of quality components with a 100% guarantee. They're made for tournament anglers to get it done when the money is on the line. Guys, that was like my second cast with this bait. That's a Waterwood custom bait. These things are handmade in the rainforest south of Brazil. And I mean, as you can see right here, it's a fish catching bait. It's got the front hook. That means they wanted it. This bait's, it's running really true. It throws really well. Guys, check them out at waterwoodcustombaits.com.
BassBoatForSale.com is the world's premier bass boat listings business. We focus on driving premium web traffic to our main website, business Facebook page, business Instagram, and our business YouTube channel, providing your bass boat listings the best buying traffic and top-notch exposure. Whether you need to sell your bass boat or are looking to buy a bass boat, it's simple. We give boats exposure so buyers shop and sellers list. One-time listing fee, no commission, and boats list until they sell. Bass Boat forsale.com. Check it out.
AquaView, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. AquaView. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA. Strongest, lightest rod, 100% made here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick. Every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out there in a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming Series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water, not spent fishing, is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together. The One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Welcome back to Bass U Live. We were talking a little bit off the air about, of course, me going in the water again. But I got a chance to hang around with the neighbors on Halloween, and everybody, went out of their way to express how much joy that brought to them and laughter as the entire neighborhood, took advantage of that way. My one neighbor has a big, giant outdoor screen, and they're doing a Phillies watch party. We're all Phillies fans from around here, so they're trying to figure out how to get that water incident on their big screen for everybody's viewing pleasure. Yeah, that's sold out in 30 minutes.
Man, it was epic. I couldn't even get one. It was gone. Couldn't even get one.
High in-demand costume. Gotta love it. Thank you very much, James Riley. I'm not taking you fishing anymore.
Classic.
That was classic. But good stuff. I'm really excited to talk to this guest because he did something it's really hard to do, and it's going to get harder. And he qualified for the Bassmaster Elites in his first attempt at doing it out on the Bassmaster Open. So without any further ado, let's welcome him to Bass University Live. This is Cooper Gallant, Bassmaster Elite Qualifier.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear. Loud and clear. Even hear that Canadian twinge accent coming out already.
I don't have an accent, do I?
Not at all.
I just a little bit. We'll see how it goes, but that's all right, man. We like the diversity. I'm impressed. You're another angler from the north coming down and just kicking butt and taking names, man. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, it was a dream year, really. I mean, coming into this year, I had two goals. One was to win an Open, and one was to qualify for the Elites. And super thankful it all ended up how it did, and I still feel like I've been punked.
Man, that's pretty impressive to hit those two first goals out of the gate. May I suggest, next year your goals should probably be to win all the Elites and make the Bassmaster Classic and win it too. But you're so good at achieving those goals, why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, is to win one and qualify for the Classic. Kind of the same as what it was in the Opens, but it ain't easy. It's super hard to do, but I'm looking forward to the journey, and it's going to be a lot of fun. It's been a dream of mine to fish the Elites for many years now, and Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun journey for sure.
How you've been dreaming about this. Tell me about your fishing background. Fishing like stuff like the Canadian Opens, or are you fishing different? What tournament trails did you fish to get yourself prepared and get your skill set so strong?
So I started tournament fishing when I was 13. I did the Bass Nation high school and junior program back here in Ontario, and qualified to head south for the high school championship. I think it was 2 or 3 times, and that's kind of where it all started. We ended up winning the one on the St. Lawrence, and that was the tournament that kind of fueled the fire. And that was the tournament that made me realize that this is what I wanted to do. And then shortly after that, I started fishing the Costa Series, fished a few Costa Series championships, again through qualifying back home. I did the Northerns a few years later. That was in 2018 or 2019. 2020 was the first year I hopped into the Opens. That was kind of when COVID hit. I broke down on the first event, and it was just super tough to cross the border. So I kind of just pulled out in 2020 and then did the Northerns in 2021, and then hopped in all 9 this year. But yeah, it's been it kind of all started when I was around 12, 13 years old, fishing the Bass Nation stuff for sure, and super thankful that I was introduced to tournament fishing at a young age. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride, and still can't believe it. Dream come true.
Well, take us back to that. Who was it that introduced you to fishing?
I'm not going to get into names because there was a few people that did introduce me, and I don't want to forget anyone, but I was super fortunate to grow up with people who had bass boats, and they took me out fishing. There's a big list, and I really do appreciate everyone who did take me out growing up. But yeah,
when you get the bug, you get bit by the bug. I mean, if you get it, you get it. And we just learned at our summit last week that it's kids that get fishing before the age of 12 will be lifelong fishermen. So and I know you expressed your appreciation for the guys that took you fishing. So I want to challenge everybody listening, to get a kid out there and kid that might not ever get a chance to go fishing, and you might change a kid's life like yours got changed.
Yeah, 100%. It only takes, you could take a kid out for half an hour, an hour, and like you said, it could change their life.
Well, congratulations on that. I mean, tell me, how'd you get 9 weeks off? What job are you doing? Are you still working? Are you going to continue to work during the elites? How did you manage to fish the elite or all 9 opens this year?
Yeah, so ever since I started, I've worked full time pretty well, and that's another thing I just wanted to mention. I just want to thank all my bosses over the years.
Big time.
I was lucky enough growing up, I didn't have an issue taking time off. They were 100% supportive. And I'm super thankful for that, because I guarantee you I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for them. I started doing it full time 2 years ago when I jumped into the Northerns. And then, so 2021 and 2022, I've been doing it full time. And yeah, but big thanks to, again, my bosses growing up. I would not be where I'm at today if it wasn't for them. They let me take off. Even back home, like growing up, I used to fish 10 to 20 tournaments back home, and they'd let me take time off all summer, all fall, all spring. And yeah, super thankful.
Rich, don't listen to this kind of talk. Not every boss is that nice.
Unless you fish the same trailer.
I got
lucky. Division 3.
Yeah, Division 3. Well, so you're doing 9 tournaments. That's quite a massive amount of tournaments to take on. And that's another thing is the cost. Have you gone back and look? Because a lot of guys are staring at that this year. Registrations are open right now. Guys are making their decisions on, are we going to do one division? Are we going to do all 3 divisions? What did it? I don't know if you've done the economics of it for yourself, but what do you figure it costs to fish all 9 events?
Yeah, it's about, I mean, I do it pretty cheap. I bum it out. I sleep in the truck a lot. And for me to do all 9 this year still cost me about 50 grand.
Wow.
That's a lot.
40 to 50 grand.
40 to 50 grand. And that's doing a lot of sleeping in your vehicle, so it can get higher than that when you're high maintenance like Jocelyn. That price is going to go way up.
Dinner, cooking on the Coleman stove all week. That ain't going out for dinner every night. That's
I'm out.
40 a year, you're prominent.
You don't have to worry about me, Pete. I'll stay right here.
That commitment, honestly, that's what it takes, man.
Yeah.
It takes sacrificing now. Some guys got it pretty good, but the majority don't. That's what you did, Cooper. That's exactly what, to me, that's an opens angler. That's exactly what it's all about.
That is an opens angler. And I mean, every one of us, I've slept in my truck on many occasions.
I have too. For
you
sure.
know, it's part of it to make the sacrifice to chase your dream. I mean, it's just not going to be handed to you.
Coop, how long have you been with the companies inside the industry that support you? Because I know you have a relationship with G. Loomis, and you have a relationship with some other companies, X-Zone Lures. Talk a little bit about how you got to the point of where you're at with those companies as an opens angler, because you said you fish full time, and that really is true, because you spent you said last night when we talked, maybe 6 to 7 months in the States this year, and you fished full time. But without the companies that kind of give you some backing, it probably all wouldn't be possible. So how did you get to that point just as an opens guy, not a qualifying pro? You have some people supporting you in your journey.
Yeah, it's like you said, there's zero way I could do it without sponsors. And thankful for everyone who's believed in me from the beginning. My first sponsor was Mercury. I got on with them about 4 years ago, and it kind of just all snowballed from there. The biggest thing for me was videos and multi-species fishing. I don't just tournament bass fish. I do a lot of multi-species stuff as well. We do a lot of videos outside of bass fishing. So that's really helped me as well, doing the multi-species as well as bass. But to be honest with you, I'd say the number one reason of me being able to build relationships with these brands is doing the videos, doing the social media and stuff like that. And then, even going to the fishing shows, meeting people. I've been going to the fishing shows since I was about 11 years old. So, and to any kid watching this or anything, that is such a great way to get your name out there, is just get to the fishing shows, show your face, meet people, and you never know, 5-10 years down the road, you might be working with them. But yeah, I've been super lucky over the past few years to gain relationships with these brands, and it's been fun.
And that's great advice. It really is on that. The sponsorship part of the program is really, it's necessary, and you hear everybody talk about it. But the other side of it is which is obviously the most important, the fishing skill set. Like you're coming from a part of the country that it doesn't have the southern reservoirs. It doesn't have the Tennessee River style of fishing. How are you able to overcome and learn those techniques so quickly?
Yeah, we're pretty lucky where we grow up. I mean, we have so many different styles of fishing here in Ontario. Like, we've got lakes like Lake Simcoe that are deep, clear water lakes where you can catch them shallow, you can catch them deep come the fall. We have lakes like Lake Scugog, which is 40 minutes from Simcoe. That's muddy, shallow, big largemouth. We have lakes up north that are tea stained. We've got rivers We've got the Ottawa River that we can fish. We have so many different bodies of water and so many different styles of fishing: wood, flipping milfoil, docks, fishing suspended fish out deep largemouth, shallow largemouth, deep smallmouth. So the list goes on. So us as Canadian anglers, we're lucky to have that wide range of different bodies of water. Our biggest challenge for sure is tidal fisheries. I love fishing tidal waters. I've never really done good on one. I think my best finish is like a 42nd, but next to that was on the James. It was like a 71. And that's our biggest challenge, I think, is fishing tidal fisheries, obviously, just because we have none of that here in Ontario.
You did well on the Bay, didn't you? You cashed a check.
Oh yeah, sorry, I did catch them pretty good on Chesapeake. I think I ended up like 26. But other than that, it's been a grind for me to figure out the tidal deal. But I really do enjoy it. I really do.
Well, we got to make a deal. That's all I know is tidal water, right? We got a bunch of tidal water rats on this podcast. Yeah. You seem to have the rest of it under control. We got to make a swap.
Border's open. Let's go.
The border's open.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
Do you guys have any tidal water on the Elite Series schedule next year?
That's a good question.
Top of my head, I don't even know. Not the
Texas River.
Sabine. We got the Sabine on there.
Yep.
That's it, I think. Cooper, out of the schedule next year, like which one are you looking forward to the most?
Say that again, Greg.
I said out of the Elite schedule next year, which one are you circling? Which one you like the most? St. Lawrence.
I'd probably have to go to St. Lawrence. Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm looking forward to them all. I like fishing new bodies of water, and I kind of like exploring. That's one of my favorite things to do is to go to a new body of water and kind of try and figure it out. I honestly don't like going, like, we have a bunch of derbies here back home, and we go to the same places all the time, and I like change. I like going to new places.
That's great. That's a great thing to like, because that'll help you be real successful with a shorter practice period. And we were talking about that, like how was your practice periods? Did you put a lot of time in, and how do you think that 2.5 days is going to affect you? Because that's what you're going to get for the elites.
Yeah, so there were certain tournaments where, like me being from Ontario, I'd be looking at the calendar, and I'm just trying to do the math with how much I'm going to spend in fuel versus how much I'm going to save if I just stay down here. So there was a few tournaments that were like kind of back to back. I would just go straight there. And spend, I'll be honest, there was a couple I spent 8 days. But as far as the practice part of it goes, 4 day, I like 4 days. If I'm there for 8, I won't make a cast for 4. Because as we all know, fish are moving. You don't want to figure something out too early in practice and kind of be stuck on that come the derby, because chances are you ain't going to catch them. So I think if you are going to spend more than 5 days practicing, don't make a cast, idle around, get to learn the way around the lake. Like, where were we? Ross Barnett? Yeah, Ross Barnett. It was a little sketchy, right? I've never been there before. I heard there's a lot of wood and rebar and stuff. So I went there for 8 days. I spent 4 days just driving, marking some trails, figuring out where I can get on plane, where I can't. And then did 4 days practice. And then Rayburn, I spent 5. It was kind of all over the place. It all depended on where we were going to next and stuff like that.
When you talk about days practice, how many hours a day do you get to practice?
You can practice sun up to sundown. That's what I usually do. Like if I'm out there for sunrise, I ain't coming in till that sun starts going down for sure.
Love it.
Definitely.
Sunrise to sunset, Josh, like dark to dark, we always call it on our practice days. And guys, I want to invite you. You're watching over on Bashy.tv. You got a question for Cooper? Just fire it on the IM board, and we'll pass it along. I think we have one, Jocelyn.
We do. Hold on, sorry. I lost it. Kyle Patrick wants to know, if you could, would you throw a Demiki rig 100% of the time?
Kyle said that. Probably. I threw it a lot in Texas, actually. That's when you know you're not on them. Throw Demiki in Texas.
Well, that's is Kyle one of your buddies from home?
Yeah, I met him through. He fishes the opens as well.
Okay.
He did all 9 this year. Yeah.
I got you. Great question, Kyle. We always appreciate somebody busting chops on bass. You keep it coming.
Kyle, Coop, did you win Cherokee Demikian, or how'd you win that one?
Demikian, and then I caught a few on a drop shot and a few up shallow on a swim bait, but 95% of the fish I caught were on a Demiki.
So in Canada, is that something you guys do a lot of?
No.
Oh.
No, I've actually never done it here. I've never done it at home. I probably should start because they do eat it pretty good.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
That win, take us through your big win, man. That you're using a Demiki rig and some other tools. Forward-facing sonar, was that your friend? And you were doing that on smallmouth, right? Take us through that tournament.
Yeah, it was good. It's right when I got there, I just kind of felt good. I liked the looks of the lake. I idled around a little bit, found some juicy little areas that I liked, and to be honest with you, I started catching them pretty good pretty quickly. And usually when that happens, I don't like catching them right away. I like figuring them out on like the last day of practice. But I started figuring them out pretty quickly, and I just expanded on it through practice. And from what I remember, we had a big warm front come in, and we were kind of on the verge of having fish pull up to go spawn. There was a lot of fish deep, and it was kind of worrying me because I had a lot of schools out deep. And then day one got canceled, and I was a little nervous. I thought I was gonna have to switch things up and go fish shallow, just because I thought for sure they were gonna start pushing up real quick. Dropped my trolling motor in on day one, and the water temp was the same, and I kind of got the chills because I knew I'd be able to catch them out deep Demiki rigging. I was just fishing any irregularity, whether it was a bald spot in the rocks, noticeably bigger boulder, rock veins that came off the bank close to where they might go push up and spawn. I was fishing anywhere from basically 15 to 30 feet of water, and I was just dropping the Demiki rig right on their heads. One thing I did notice in practice, though, and like even talking to buddies, they were kind of kicking themselves in the butt for not doing it. I was live scoping them, but you would never see them. They were so tucked to bottom, and they're so tucked in between all the boulders, you wouldn't see them unless you dropped your Demiki rig down there. And then you would just see like 10 to 15 of them just rise off bottom. So I kind of figured that out pretty early, and I was lucky enough to just kind of keep rolling with it and practice in the tournament. And yeah, it was a good event. I knew I was on fish to have a top 10. I wasn't sure if I was on the right ones to win it, but yeah, it was a crazy week, and doing something that I love doing, fishing for smallmouth.
Well, that was a great win, and you punched your ticket to the Classic.
Yes, you did.
So that's got to be super exciting. I mean, it's the biggest thing in fishing. Tell me your thoughts on it. Did you move to Knoxville? What's your plans for the Classic?
So on the way home, I did stop there for 2 days just to drive around. Didn't make a cast, just went to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been there before, so I just kind of wanted to get some highway around, and I'm looking forward to heading back down in March. It's a dream come true. It honestly didn't start to hit me that I made it until I qualified for the Elites, because the main goal this year was to make the Elites. Like, yes, the Classic is unbelievable, dream come true, but man, I really wanted to make the Elite. So throughout the whole season, to be honest, I wasn't really thinking about it a whole lot. The only thing that was on my mind was the Elites. But once I qualified, the Classic started to hit me, and it's starting to feel real now that I'm home, seeing all my friends and family, and just starting to get everything in line for the 2023 season. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I've been to about 6 of them in the stands, watching, seeing all the other Canadian boys up there, Chris, Core, Gussie, Mercer, and every time I'm there watching, just fuels the fire. And again, still feel like I've been punked.
I don't know where we were this year. I can't remember where the comment came from, but I remember Chris and Corey saying this year prior to the year starting, they said Cooper Gallant's going to make the Elite Series for 2023. So they called it. So they must obviously believe in your talent and what you got, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So you're responsible for taking some money from them up north. That's
We're
hard.
back home now. They clean up pretty good back home. They're not even allowed to fish a lot of dirt back home anymore.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Mr. Higgs wants to know if you have any roommates for next year, or are you going to head solo and sleep in the truck all season?
I'm gonna ride solo.
Right.
It's kind of all I've ever done, and it's somewhat worked for me. So I'm just gonna ride solo. I don't like the dog talk. I don't like, really, to be honest, I don't really like sharing info. I don't like getting info. It's screwed me over more than it's helped me in the past. And that's what I did this year for the Opens. I kind of just did my own thing. Yeah, I'm gonna keep rolling with it going into next year.
That dock talk can be a problem.
Big time.
You know,
mess you up big time. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, how has it led you astray in the past? I know it's real. People don't understand. They want to get all this information, but getting too much information, and especially wrong information, it can send you sideways.
Oh yeah, it makes you spin out. Like there was a few times growing up, like through the high school stuff, like we'd go down south for the championship on Cherokee Lake, for example. I'd get some info. Me and my tournament partner Danny, we'd get some info, but it never works. Not for me anyway. It's like I said, it's hurt me more times than none, and I end up just spinning out, and I end up doing something I don't even feel comfortable doing. And I think at the end of the day in fishing, you need to do what your gut tells you to do, and you need to do with what you're comfortable with.
Yeah,
that's
you
very.
Can't fish for someone else's fish.
Yeah,
that's good. Most guys, I think, can't recognize that.
Yeah, because like ultimately, like when you're gonna win a tournament or like you're gonna do really well in a tournament, you have to be in your own zone and like your own element. And like I think one of the biggest progressions as all anglers need to make is like understanding like, okay, I'm not in the zone at all right now, or like I'm knocking on the door of like, okay, I feel like I'm starting to get dialed, and like, you know, just ride that momentum. But if you're relying on somebody else, like if you're relying on other people to try to like put you into that zone, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, you're guessing. Yeah, you're just guessing.
You got to just get there on your own and be able to understand like when you're in that, like that, we had somebody on that talked about it before. It might have been an Ike Live show with Blockett, maybe. Talk about like that flow state where like you get into like that rhythm, and then everything you see is just like, I'm going to catch one there, right? But if you know, if that's somebody else's information that's getting put into your brain, you're really not going to get into your own flow. So.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree with you, and it's you know, it's really tough because you can get the one thing I've found is, you know, with roommates is even really talented roommates, it can be, you know, hard to deal with because like Ike and I roomed for a long time, and Ike would be on a pattern, throwing a Demiki rig over boulders, and he's like, hey, you know, I had 10 bites on it today, and then I go out hard charging the next day to try to Demiki them off the boulders, and I'm like, am I not doing it right? I'm not catching them. I'm not seeing them. Right. And then I get off the water that day, and he's like, "Oh no, that pattern went away today."
Yep.
You know, so you invested like a whole day chasing really good information,
right?
But it didn't. You know, you squandered a day instead of doing exactly what you're talking about, Coop,
right.
which is listening to yourself, and staying away from that dock talk. And I especially, in a young career, how important that is. to stay away from it. And now I'll tell you this, because I've been competing since the 1700s, and when you're young, you have a tendency to really be influenced heavily. Not until you've had dozens of tournaments under your belt that you can start listening to that doc talk and picking and choosing the pieces of information that might be helpful to you. And that's what I've learned over the years. It's very hard to get through that doc talk and get to the juice, Yeah. But that's great advice. Of course, I might want to throw in with the Johnston brothers, man. They're sharing winnings, and, that might be helpful. Those guys.
Yeah, if they would share winnings with me, I might think about it.
Divided by everything by 3 now?
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on, Chris and Corey. We'll send an application your way. We want somebody else might want to join the party. So now you've been successful on the Chesapeake. By the way, I want to talk about that last because I want to find out how you did that. But you were successful in Texas. You've had a lot of success in a lot of different styles of body of water. What would you say is your fishing strength?
I like getting off the bank. I think I feel most comfortable off the bank for sure. I love fishing the bank. I really do. But when it comes to derby time, I like being off the bank. I like looking at my electronics, whether I'm staring at my live scope, whether I'm idling around trying to find that spot on a spot or trying to find a group of fish on a ledge or something like that. But I definitely do love being off the bank.
Offshore, and so many of the younger generation is that offshore angler. They're so good at their electronics. Jocelyn, we have some questions for Coop.
Yeah, we have a couple. Coop, what are your top 3 techniques you like to use in a day in and day out?
So for smallmouth, drop shot, Demiki, I love throwing a Carolina rig. I really do.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes Pete happy.
We're
that's a
GDP too.
Oh yeah.
For largemouth and smallmouth. Largemouth, flipping. So jig, punching, crankbait.
Flipping and cranking.
Very
What a
good.
great combination for largemouth. I love the Carolina rig, man. I thought, especially it's great to see the young guys picking it up. I love it. I know you love it too, GDP, but it's falling off the radar.
It's good. Fall off.
Yeah. Tell no one.
It saved my butt a few times this year.
That's all. I mean, there's so many good things about that rig. It's such a good deep water application. Talk to me about your Carolina rig setup and what are the baits that you're, using. I've got a couple of my faves. What are you putting on as a trailer?
X-Zone just came out with they've had the adrenaline crop. They came out with a smaller version. I've been throwing it a lot. I've been getting a lot of bites on it, but I keep it pretty simple, honestly. Just weight, bead, swivel. I'm usually running, if I'm fishing for smallmouth, the sea rig, I'll run like a 16 to like a 12 lead. And it all depends what you're dragging it over and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then when it comes to largemouth, I'll do 17 or 20 to 15 or 17. Again, it all depends what you're fishing it around and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a fun rig to throw. There's definitely a time and place for it, but it does get chewed.
You all fluorocarbon, leader and mainline?
Yep, for the sea rig, all fluoro.
Yep, me too. Same. I have a baby brush hog. The watermelon red is like one of my probably caught more sea rig fish for me than anything else. What are you throwing on the back of yours?
I would say between what you just said and the speed crawl, they're the two.
Speed crawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a
Yeah,
kill.
they eat the speed crawl good.
Yeah, definitely. Cooper, are you a brass guy or are you a tungsten guy on the sea rig, or both?
Tungsten.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, a lot of the times I don't think it really matters a whole lot.
I just love talking about it because so few people even talk about the Carolina rig. So I'm glad we got a chance to ask you that.
Yeah.
Josh,
Hey, Pete, one more question on that. So how, in your retrieve on the sea rig, are you pointing the rod right at it and bringing it back real slow with your reel, or are you sweeping it? I've seen it done a couple different ways. The guys down south that I had on the back of my boat a couple times, they're pointing the rod right at and just reeling it. Man, they schooled me. I mean, they put 5 in a boat in 5 minutes. Yeah,
and Scott, I'm glad you asked that question because I'm a sweeper. I use the rod to impart the action on the bait and feel the habitat, and I reel the slack up, and then I go again. What are you doing, Coop?
I'm a sweeper too.
Yeah.
I'll sweep to the side. I'm not sweeping up. I'm doing more of a sweep to the side, just like this.
Yeah. The guys pointing right at it were just like, see if they feel something, they just pull straight up on it. You know.
I've seen that before too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yep.
It's like slow rolling a Carolina rig.
Yeah. I couldn't reel it slow enough. The guy was an awesome angler doing that on the back of the boat. It was pretty impressive to watch.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Will you throw it shallow to deep too? Like will you throw it in some shallower stuff? Like I'm talking 5-6 foot, or is it always deep water?
Yeah, I on Ross Barnett, for example, I caught every fish in that event on a sea rig in less than 5 feet of water.
I love this conversation. It's putting so many thoughts and ideas in my head of man, I think they would probably work here.
It will work. I think the biggest thing with the shallow is just adjusting your weight properly. That's the only time I would, downsize my weight tremendously, just for, impact reasons, quietness. But it works. Yeah, or even smaller.
A half and 3/8.
Yeah, it works tremendously good no matter what depth you're fishing.
Your leader too for the shallower water.
Sometimes, but
I think it's just honestly there's a set leader length that I think you can get comfortable with.
Yeah.
That I think it'll work everywhere as you go.
Right.
But I do think there is times where longer versus short does make a difference sometimes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And it was so cool to see Schmitty get the W up at the Mississippi River, throwing a Carolina rig on the grass edges. That was cool. And
that's what this conversation's making me think about.
I know. That's why I've used the shallow rig here where we fish a lot. We've used it for a lot of years. But Jocelyn, I know we got a few more questions.
We do have a few more. Chris wants to know, do you have a go-to bait to throw when you are at a new body of water?
What's your bait you use to cover water?
Bait I use to cover water, probably a chatterbug.
Very nice.
Love that.
Chatterbug with a neck zone swammer on the back there, and just huck and wind it around. It all depends where we're at, but yeah, chatterbug's a fun little bait to throw around. Top water. That's again, yeah, it all depends, but I do like throwing that little chatterbug around. Chatterbait.
That's
I
a
call
good
it
one.
chatterbug.
Yeah.
Yep.
I call it a chatter daddy. We all got a little pet name for that dude. It's a powerful weapon for us all. But you have experience, right? You've done a lot. It's got to be some areas that you don't feel comfortable. What areas like this year do you think you need to improve on, or feel like might be your weakness that you gotta work on to be competitive on the elites?
Yeah, so one thing I haven't done, and I've done it, just not a whole lot, not as much as I'd hope to have, and that's bed fishing for largemouth. I love doing it. I've done it on fork and stuff like that. It's fun. I enjoy doing it. I like looking at them. I grew up fishing in the streams for trout, constantly looking at the rainbows, swimming in the river. So I like looking at them just like I do the smallmouth. But that's probably one thing that I think I need to improve the most on.
Yeah, that's crap. The guys from the South get to have 5 months a year where they get to practice fishing for bedding fish.
Right.
And we get it for about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get it. Not for largemouth. Like, you can catch a few here and there, but you ain't seeing too many largemouth on beds here by the time our season opens up.
Yeah, that's right. You have the closed season, so you're not even allowed to practice. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe
It's
League
all right.
of the Isles you could go in there for a while.
They get enough of looking at smallmouth up there on the St. Lawrence River. Believe me, we know what goes on up there, but that's a totally different beast. I mean, we're staring through traffic cones when we have $10,000 worth of electronics on our boat. So
yeah.
Let me offer you some advice. We go to the Bass U, and you got to look at Drew Cook's sight fishing seminar. It is probably the best sight fishing seminar that I've ever heard delivered, and he delivered it for us just this year, and then he went and won at Santee Cooper using those exact strategies and techniques to be and believe me, I mean I've fished with some great sight fishing guys. I don't count myself in that crowd. GDP's really good at it. But I've learned from Shaw Grigsby and the greats that really revolutionized that technique, and yet Drew Cook does it in a way that is pretty impressive. So make sure you check that out, and he'd be certainly a good guy to get in a boat with. But that's one of the things I had learned from him, and it's crazy, Coop, that it's like 5 months a year they're practicing that technique, starting in December.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They just keep coming and coming and coming, and every full moon, it's all right. Let's get another practice round in.
Just go to Florida this winter, Pete.
Yeah, move to the studios. We got our studios down to South Carolina. We might as well take the rest of us down to Florida.
Head on down to Florida. Come on.
All right, 5 months. Here we come. Well, that's awesome. Jocelyn, do we have any more items?
Charles wants to know, do you come down south to fish during the winter? If so, what are some of your favorite lakes?
So during the Open, I don't come down a whole lot unless there's a derby. The last few years I have been, just because the Opens have been starting there. So yeah, like this year we started off on the Kissimmee chain. My favorite lake down there would probably be Toho. I love Toho. You got all that offshore grass. You can fish. You can kind of do a little bit of everything out there. And Toho, honestly, it fished a little bit like a lake we have back home called the Bay of Quinte. And it's got all that offshore grass. So I really enjoyed fishing Toho. It's got shell bars, stuff like that, where you can drag the Carolina rig over. And yeah, probably Toho is one of my favorites for sure down south.
That's one of my favorites too. That's the Kissimmee chain, and it's a great fishery. That and Okeechobee, I think, are. Well, I don't know about Okeechobee lately. I've been hearing some bad reports on it, but over the years, Okeechobee has fished more unlike a Florida lake than a lot of the other lakes that we fished over the years. But how do you feel about Florida fishing? Are you comfortable? Like, I know Ike, screams and cusses at them Florida strain fish and the Florida tournaments. Do you feel comfortable competing in Florida?
Yeah, I do. I'm looking forward to it. Believe it or not, we have a lot of lakes within an hour of my house that look like Okeechobee, that look like Toho, that look like the Kissimmee chain. A lot of people don't realize that or would even think that, but we have a lot of lakes that look very similar to a lot of the lakes in Florida.
Awesome.
Just at the complete opposite side of the calendar.
What's that?
It's like at the complete opposite side of the calendar, right? Like in Florida, when you guys are there, it's like February usually. But I'm guessing that those lakes up there in Canada probably start looking like that in what, July, August?
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
June, July.
Got to wait for that grass to grow. I don't know if you got a chance to watch the Ike Live show on Sunday night, but I got to ask this question: how many Sasquatch sightings have you had up north of the border?
Never seen one.
Same. What's that, Coop?
So I haven't seen one yet.
Yep. Myself either. You? GDP?
I have seen one.
You've seen one?
I've seen something. I don't know if I've seen one, but I've seen something.
What'd you see?
I saw it in Florida. I saw it in St. Johns River.
Well, explain. Describe it.
That was a monkey, dude. That was probably a.
It wasn't no monkey, dude. This thing was bigger than a human.
Really?
Well, dude, it probably was a human. Have you ever seen some of it?
and I'm not going to argue that.
It
could have been.
Dude, I'm telling you, see some of them, they take their shirt off. You're like, good gosh, what creature are you?
It was something.
I think it's because you don't drink enough water. You were a little dehydrated.
You might be right. You might be right.
It comes full circle.
You're operating on pasta and like honey buns and no water.
Pasta is very good.
Soda.
And soda, for sure.
And soda.
Yeah. That's fun. Well, what, at the gas station, did you see this creature?
No,
Where did you
so
see this creature?
I'm way back in the middle of nowhere in the St. John's on a long canal. That's all idle down there because of manatee zones. I'm literally idling through this canal. And this is a God's honest true story. I don't ever lie. So, like, I'm going down there. I look over in the woods, and I see something.
I was Lee Livesey.
It could have been Lee. It was that size of a man. I look over in the woods, and I see this giant creature, man-like looking thing, like literally just sitting against like a big giant like stumpy log thing. And like as fast as I could double take, like I looked back instantly and like, you know, the tree line kind of got there, so I put it in reverse real quick and I'm like, it wasn't there anymore. And I was like, what the heck was that? So anyway, so I keep idling down this canal and I go for like maybe another 5 miles and there's a big sign hanging on a tree and it said swamp ape sighting with the people's name, 2 guys in 2017 on the sign, and I was like, no freaking way.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, I have it on my. I can go back probably in my stories and find all this stuff from Bass because I tagged Bass Nation in it. But like, I was like, man, it had to be it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
swamp ape.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was just.
I heard of that.
Yeah, it was so like random. Then to see that sign, I'm like, no freaking way. Yeah.
How
True
funny
story.
would it be if they
Confirmed
like
sighting,
if they
GDP.
like pay someone to go out there and like hide and
Yeah.
out and say, hey? That'd be so funny.
Yeah, right.
That has been done before, but no, that's funny.
Yeah.
I have never seen one, not yet, but a lot of people have. We were talking about it on the show, but I want to talk about. You came down to the Chesapeake and took a check in a tough fall tournament on a tidal water, which you know, comment, that's a tough one for you. How did you pull that? Because we love that body of water. What was your patterns down here on the Chesapeake? How'd you pull that off?
How'd I pull it off? I have no idea. I had a terrible practice. In 4 days of practice, I think I caught 5 fish. Right, like caught 3 and shook 2. I think that's what it was.
That's about on pace. Yep, for that week.
A lot of the stuff I went to, like I felt good, it looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Had the right ingredients, I just couldn't get bit. Like that one big flat, the Susquehanna Flats, I think is how you say it.
Yep.
It looked gorgeous, and you can see them suckers swimming around everywhere. Big ones. Like I saw multiple 15 to 20 socks out there, but I could not get them to bite. I'd leave for a couple hours, come back, stay back, lighten up my line a little bit, throw some little finessey little things at them, and just couldn't get them to bite. And then I'd be like, oh, there's no way they're there. I'd go up, and right where I was casting, the suckers are sitting right there. So I abandoned that real quick. Like I need to find some fish that I actually want to chew. So I found this one grass flat very close to the mouth of the river. I had one bite there in practice, and I shook one. And I ended up staying there the whole tournament. I just figured it was a big enough area, and I didn't really pick it apart in practice. So I started there on day 1. I caught like a 4.5 on a chatterbug. And I kind of just told myself right away, I'm like, it's a big enough area. It looks good. The grass is gorgeous. So I hunkered down there for 2 days straight. I don't even think I pulled my trolling motor up once, and I think I caught 4 fish a day. But they were pretty decent ones, and yeah, just one of those deals where I thought I was better off just to hunker down rather than run around and run around with my head cut off trying to catch a couple keepers. So
that's good.
Yeah, it worked out. I had some fun at that one. It turned out a lot better than I thought.
That was a great move. I mean, but I think the biggest move was he showed a lot of, maturity, I would say, in those fish that you were seeing and not being able to catch, because that throws a lot of people for a loop on that body of water, because it's got so many big ones, and you can see those 20-pound bags swimming around. And I honestly, after fishing down there for so many years, I can't be definitive, and I'm wonder what your opinion is on it, GDP, but like I always felt like later in the season you get the more drought-like conditions, so the saltwater infiltration kind of comes up into into that part of the waterway, and they get crazy eyes. That's what I call it, because they're just really, really challenging to catch. I felt like it was the salt water that does it. What do you think?
I just think it's probably a combination of that, but like it's just that fall funk where they just won't commit.
Right.
Because
Summer, yeah.
because once the fall kicks in, I was just talking to Riz about this. Once the fall kicks in out there, them fish that are out there, they eat.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and they eat prior to the fall funk.
Right.
You know, so I think it's just that time of year where you can go and you can probably find some aggressive fish. One thing about that upper bay is them fish that are constantly being weighed in, I think they're the same fish being caught over and over. They're aggressive fish. They're fish that will eat all times of the year. You know, where some of them fish in the flat, they're just part of that population that just doesn't eat.
Right.
You know.
Right. They don't eat lures.
Lures.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm being serious. I mean, that's what I think. So, like you just said, making that move, Coop, and you know, I kind of think I know where you're at just by talking. But like, that's a gray area once the fall starts to kick in a little bit where you were. It can be phenomenal once it gets this time of year on.
Yep. Well, it's that kind of maturity, making those kinds of decisions, which are going to, keep you competitive, because you're about to go into a firestorm with some super talents. But I got to be honest, from your track record, I think you're ready to go.
Yep, I do too.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. It's, there's a lot of beasts on the Elite Series, but I'm looking forward to just getting out there, doing my own thing, and hoping I can catch them. Just going to take, one event at a time and enjoy it, and do my best and go have some fun.
Has Dave Mercer reached out to you on this yet?
Yeah, he called me. He called me the day I qualified, right after Hartwell there, and
that's awesome.
We chatted for a few minutes. He's pretty stoked, and obviously I'm pretty stoked. We've been chatting about it for the last few years of how bad I want to be up there, and it's gonna be crazy. Just like the first event of the year, actually being up there with him and talking to him. I'm a little nervous as to what nickname he's gonna give me, but
that's great.
It'll be fun.
He is good, man. He is.
Oh yeah.
There's not a better guy for that job. He is just. You know the best part about Dave is he's the same guy on stage as he is off a stage. That's why I like Dave Mercer so much.
It's impressive, and we watched him this year at the Elites because we were down with the Bass University booth at a lot of them, and entertaining as hell. It really does an amazing job, and I told him that when I saw him, because I hadn't been on site for a while just to watch, and he just commands that crowd, and I know he's thrilled to have another Canadian amongst the ranks out there.
You will feel the love, I promise you.
And here comes Cooper Gallant and Greg DePalma.
You'll get a little preferential treatment, but that's fine. That's great. And those people that want to follow you and check out your work on social and your video work and your multi-species stuff, how can they do that?
Yeah, so just YouTube. The multi-species stuff's called The Road Trip. We do 5 episodes of that a year, so we just kind of travel to all over the place. This year we went to Northwest Territories. We've done BC. And just scratching that next fishing adventure off the bucket list. We go to places we've never been, fish for new species. So that's The Road Trip. That's all on my YouTube channel. Just type in my name, Cooper Gallant Fishing. And then the Elite Series Chase, which is no longer the Elite Series Chase anymore. For next year, it's going to be called just The Chase. So I'll be filming and documenting all 9 elite events plus the Bassmaster Classic, behind the scenes, on the water, and just kind of showcasing what it's like to fish derbies and stuff like that. So yeah, just type in my name on both Instagram and YouTube, Facebook, Cooper Gallant Fishing.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Great. We'll all be watching. Can you say Susquehanna again for us?
Susquehanna.
That was horrible.
Come on, it's pretty good.
I love it. The Susquehanna Flats. Of course, we've got our Philadelphia and Jersey accents, so
we got to have Gussie say it because he has the biggest accent, I think, of all the guys.
Is that right?
I think so.
Gussie or me?
What's that?
Gussie has the biggest accent?
I think so. Like Gussie, well, I don't say biggest accent, but it comes to pronunciation. I think Gussie's probably the worst. That's just how it seems.
Well, we look forward to watching you, on the YouTube stuff. We're going to follow you. I love it. It's called The Chase. And I can't wait to watch some of those episodes and see how you do this year. Want to wish you the best of luck. And best of luck at the Bassmaster Classic this year. Very few rookies have won, but it has been done. And I'd love to see you take a stab at doing that, and wish you the best of luck. And thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I had fun, and hopefully we can do it again in the near future.
I look forward to that, man. First Elite Series win, man. We'd love to see that and have you back on, or just sometime down the road next year. Just check in with you to see how the chase is going, and thanks again so much, Cooper Gallant, the champ, the Elite Series qualifier.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
All
Have
right.
a good one.
You too, and what an exciting time. Do you remember your rookie year?
Oh, I can't forget it.
How did that feel? Like you're sitting in his shoes right now, getting ready to take on that trail.
I can't even express it. Like the first time I walked on stage, I told Dave Mercer, I said, I need a second. Like, I literally needed a second, because just to suck in all the dreams you've ever had about being on that stage it's real, man. It's freaking unbelievable. If you're chasing it, trust me, it's worth it.
Yeah,
put it that way.
Well, it's a thrill. It's a thrill of a lifetime, and he's about to undertake it. And the enthusiasm, the anticipation, the excitement, just being able to fish for a living. It's just it's a dream come true. And what a great story, being able to do it in his first year fishing all the Open. And getting a W on top of that. Yes. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna give away some prizes and talk about some other cool stuff, and Riz, we'll be right back after this.
Go like and share.
Go like and share. That's right. We got a Facebook like and share contest going on, guys, for a Champions box. So go do that while we're away. We'll be right back.
What's going on? It's Riz here from the Bass University, and I am excited to welcome in Waterwood Custom Baits to the Bass U family. These are custom handmade baits in the South Rainforest of Brazil. They're made of Marupa pedra wood. It's extremely dense, it's resistant, but it's also really buoyant. They're made of quality components with a 100% guarantee. They're made for tournament anglers to get it done when the money is on the line. Guys, that was like my second cast with this bait. That's a Waterwood custom bait. These things are handmade in the rainforest south of Brazil. And I mean, as you can see right here, it's a fish catching bait. It's got the front hook. That means they wanted it. This bait's, it's running really true. It throws really well. Guys, check them out at waterwoodcustombaits.com. What's going on? It's Riz here from the Bass University, and I am excited to welcome in Waterwood Custom Baits to the Bass U family. These are custom handmade baits in the South Rainforest of Brazil. They're made of Marupa pedra wood. It's extremely dense. It's resistant.
BassBoatForSale.com is the world's premier bass boat listings business. We focus on driving premium web traffic to our main website, business Facebook page, business Instagram, and our business YouTube channel, providing your bass boat listings the best buying traffic and top-notch exposure. Whether you need to sell your bass boat or are looking to buy a bass boat, it's simple. We give boats exposure so buyers shop and sellers list. One-time listing fee, no commission, and boats list until they sell. bassboatforsale.com. Check it out.
AquaView, the leader in underwater viewing technology. Find what you are looking for. Catch more fish. Have more fun. AquaView. Seeing is believing.
Why do you love casting fishing rods?
I'm truly losing less fish.
Is the sensitivity of the rod.
That they're made right here in North Carolina in the USA. Strongest, lightest rod, 100% bait here in Sanford, North Carolina.
From the drop shot rod to the flipping stick, every rod has a purpose to it, and I rely on them all the time when I'm out doing a tournament.
Durability in the John Cruz Worming Series, the counterbalancing in the handle.
It's the only rod I found that can withstand my hook set. Boom goes the dynamite.
On the water not spent fishing is a moment wasted. That's why Minn Kota and Humminbird have joined forces to bring you the One Boat Network. Products that communicate and integrate to help you take full command of your boat. Born from our commitment to making the most advanced fishing gear even better by making it work together, the One Boat Network will help you find, get to, stay on, and catch more fish. When One Boat Network products talk to each other, they can navigate your boat automatically. They can give you a crystal clear view of what's below with no messy wires. And they can let you lower, raise, and change shallow water anchor modes from anywhere on the boat. But that's just the beginning. We're never done innovating, integrating, and making your boat simpler and easier to control. All so you can make every second on the water count.
Welcome back to Bass University. Riz, I want you to check this out because I don't think you've seen these new Hobies yet, but these are the Huntington from Hobie, and the really cool part about it is they've got interchangeable lenses. So, you know, when you're bright light and super sunny, you want the mirrored frames to be able to cut and penetrate, and you have a lever right here which allows you to pop that lens out. And then you can simply pop it back in, right, and change the lens. You go from
that's a great idea.
From that to your Sightmaster Plus, which is your sight fishing lens. Amber, super good in low visibility situations, and the lenses. And they've got this really cool case where you can have a variety of your lenses, so you can change in any condition. So check these out. These are the Huntington glasses by Hobie. I really like these. These are pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Save you a ton of money, too.
Save you a ton.
Yep.
Right? You get one pair, a variety of lenses.
Good looking shades, too.
They are nice looking.
They have really good women's sunglasses, too. I love mine. I wear mine every single day. I love them.
Very nice.
That's awesome. Do you know what pair?
I have the Maywood ones.
The Maywood.
Yeah, they're like the tortoise one, I believe.
Okay.
So I really like them.
Awesome. The Maywood glasses, check them out by Hobie Eyewear. Guys, if you're a subscriber, you get a great opportunity to buy Hobie Eyewear at a tremendous price, so go check it out. We released GDP, lipless cranking. And you check this out. It just dropped today. Guys, it's available to view. But one of the things that I liked about it, because I was in attendance during this seminar, is how early in the season you like to throw that bait. A lot of guys don't even take it out till much later in the fall.
I agree. I think there's a lot of techniques in bass fishing, and it's not just on lipless, but there's a lot of movement that happens early prior to, I think, that most guys would even consider. And a lipless falls in that category for me because if you guys are, depending where you're at in the country, the bait movement happens way before I think most people even realize it. They start to group up the fish, get on them.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and I've experienced it all over the country, especially August, late July, even that far back where it starts to happen. And if you can recognize it and kind of do some of the stuff we talked about, you will catch fish that nobody is catching.
I've always thought this. Let me know what you think. I think the length of day is as important, if not more important, than water temperature as far as moving bait around.
I think that is the key factor.
They feel the days getting shorter, and they start moving. Whereas anglers, we're always looking at water temperatures. Oh, it's still 70 degrees. The bait can't be moving yet. You know, but the days are shorter. That's their light switch.
I think so too, and it's the same. Like, we talk about it in the video a little bit. I talk about a lot of us. We walk outside, and it's like in summertime, it's just consistent across the board. Once you get towards that late summer and you start to have a day where you walk outside, and you might not even notice it, but it just takes a little bit of a change, and it starts to make the system move. It seems like. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great stuff. You got to check this out. I love throwing a lipless, and I watched Greg fish it differently and better in ways that I didn't think about, and that's available on Bass U. We've got amazing content that's coming. Ike's shallow, mid-depth, and deep fishing a fluke. A really great seminar about that tool. It continues to deliver bites. People love to fish that fluke, and it's not talked nearly enough, but a lot of guys, a lot of pros are using that weapon. So you want to check that out. That was released last week. Brian Schmidt's grass fishing trio of – he's the grass master. He's got to be, arguably the best grass fisherman on tour right now. And he's teaching us about a swim jig, a lipless or a vibrating jig, and largemouth with a drop shot. I know you don't want us to release this seminar, but a drop shotting largemouth in the grass. It's completely insightful. And Brian is just become such an exceptional teacher. I guess it's become spending so much time in the limelight, but
whatever it is,
but he's become an exceptional teacher, and so that's all coming. We got a lot more coming. Riz, you were just on a video shoot down at Watts Bar.
That's right. We had the privilege of spending some time with Brandon Coulter, Fred Rumbanis, James Watson, and John Murray down on Watts Bar, and we got some amazing stuff with them as well. Some really standout type of content. James Watson spoon fishing, we actually got to see that demonstrated, which was pretty amazing, the way he fishes a spoon in and around cover, specifically marinas. That's really his wheelhouse. That's kind of what James is known for, and he put that thing to work, and he can put that spoon so far back into a dock slip, as some would say, where the cobwebs are. That was really, really incredible. We talked about downsizing your topwater baits for all year long, not just the fall, but downsizing topwater baits with John Murray. That was an amazing seminar. Every topwater bait you can imagine. We talked about how you can downsize it, from walking baits to poppers to little tiny buzz baits. We had some awesome stuff with Fred Rumbanis, the different ways to fish a swim bait, which is the line through and the weedless swim bait. He demonstrated not only how to rig it, how to throw it, but the types of habitat he looks for, and why one is a better application than the other, and talks about all the sizes that you can throw in swim baits as well, which was pretty amazing. And then with Brandon Coulter, we were kind of on his home lake, and he really schooled us up on downsizing baits specifically for the fall in this one, and why downsizing baits in the fall is so important, and what the reasons are for that, and the ways it gets you some extra bites. And he did that. He downsized it was a downsized spinnerbait. It was a little tiny finesse style spinnerbait, new from Berkeley, that he's been messing around with, and he really caught him good on that. So it was nice to see how those applications work really well in the fall. So all that stuff's going to be coming out. We're going to do our best to get it edited, get it through the suite with our man, the wizard, Jeff Olson, and you can catch it on Bass U TV.
It's all going to be released. Every week you're going to see an on-water and a classroom seminar from Bass University. So get yourself subscribed. If you're still watching on Facebook, we've got a like and share contest going on. But we're going to open up so like it and share it, and you'll get entered in to win one of these boxes, which we're going to open right now. Check out what's inside. This is a Champions box. Speaking of which, Bobby Lane, we just talked about.
He's a champ.
He's a champ.
Yes, he is.
Bobby Lane. The baits that are in these boxes are awesome. They're They're the baits that the guys that are winning tournaments and doing well with are all using. And I got one right here, which is a downsized topwater bait. So I'm going to take that one out as I pass it around.
Oh, I already know which one I'm taking.
We just talked about that. This is a Mach K and downwater top-sized bait, which is a little popper. It's in between, something that I like to use. The Rapala baits they have a bigger model. This is a little tiny small one, which is really really cool. When the bait fish are small, the color is black, very visible. Cool bait.
Very nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that black one out. It's going to be pretty sweet.
Yep. Love that color. What do you got?
I'm picking the top toad. If you guys have not thrown a Stanley top toad, it is the buzz frog, because you can literally stop this frog, work this frog, and then continue to retrieve it. It's a bad dude for a saw frog for sure.
Yeah,
I've caught a lot of fish on this thing.
Let me see the top toad. Hi, Rich. What are you picking?
Well, got to get my hands on the box.
Jocelyn, you're allowed to pick too if you want. I'm okay. So the top toad that's the ribbit. Okay.
So
look at it. It's a hollow body.
I'm telling you, Pete. I started throwing this on Champlain 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I'm not saying too much, but if you fish the Upper Bay a lot, you might want to be throwing it.
Interesting.
Yep. Because it's a different animal as far as a saw frog goes.
So it's a hollow belly, so it's gonna float, stay on top of the vegetation. But you got these boot tails are there's the finesse toad, which I call it the finesse toad, which is like the horny toad, right? And it's got a light presence on the water, but these boot tails make a lot.
So big time bubble trail, and the difference with this versus a horny toad, the hookup ratio is really good.
Okay.
It comes with its own hooks. I'm not sure if this one has it. Yeah, this one has the hooks on it.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm going to say it's high 90 percentile hookup ratio. It's really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great frog. And you can stop it and work it too, which is the cool part about this frog.
It comes with the dual hook.
And you hardly ever wear these out. They'll last a lot of fish catches.
Awesome.
Yep. There you go, Stanley. Little punch for you there.
The ribbit.
Awesome.
Cool. What do you got, Rich?
I'm going with the V&M pacemaker jig, man. Tried and true. It's a green pumpkin jig, black head. Looks like a really versatile jig. It looks like you could swim it, flip it, pretty much do everything you want with it. 1/4 ounce, nice slow fall. Hey, you can't go wrong with a jig. Jigs catch big fish. So I'm going with the V&M pacemaker jig. Shout out to Cliff Pace. He's really got a really funny Instagram page. If you haven't looked at it, it's quite good.
Is it really?
Awesome.
Yeah. Believe it or not, he's probably the last person you would ever expect for that. But he's got a guy that he does videos with that is similar to that style of an Ed Bassmaster. It's
he different.
It's really, really, really funny. Cliff, you're doing a good job on your page, and Cliff also makes a lot of other baits as well.
Yeah, he's a crankbait guy.
Balsa, yeah.
Big
time balsa guy.
Check him out.
Black label.
Anyway, V&M pacemaker. I like it.
Sweet.
Scott, you got something over there?
Well, it's fall. We're gonna go on top water, right? Livingston, Walking Boss Jr. Right? I think this is a great lure. Get a little sound action as well. But the cool thing about these champion boxes, man, is we really get some quality, high-end lures. This thing's like $12, $13, retail, and you're getting this with all the other baits in the box. And they do a little live show on their website too. Like if you want to check it out, they have the pro in come and talk about the lure specifically. So yeah, can't beat it. Sign up, Champions Box.
How do they do that, Scott?
It's they put it out about a week after they mail the boxes, and then they have the pro in.
No, how does a person sign up for it?
Oh, okay, easily. You just go to the Champions Box on the MLF site, or we'll have a link on our site here shortly, and we're going to enter you into a prize pack. So you might get an extra box with extra baits if you sign up with Bass U.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Check out the Champions Box, and we're going to give one away right now. Jocelyn, do we have a like and share winner?
We sure do. Johnny Lawson.
Johnny Lawson.
All right.
Awesome.
Johnny, congratulations. I like his caption too for his shared post. Let's start learning. That's what it is, man. all about it.
All right, we're with you. We're with you, Johnny. Appreciate you liking and sharing the post. And we're going to give away a grand prize.
Yeah, we are.
Which has some Waterwood custom baits and as well as a Champions box. And
They are awesome crankbaits, by the way.
man, it's quite a package. What's the question, Rich?
All right, so on the show, Cooper made mention to which tournament it was that he won that made him realize that professional bass fishing is what he wanted to do. What tournament was it and what year was that tournament in that Cooper won and made him realize that professional bass fishing is absolutely what he wanted to do?
Good Lord. That's a tough question. Who's paying attention? You got the answer to that question?
I do.
You do?
I think so.
You also need the year, right?
Yep.
He said the year.
By the way, I want to give a special shout-out to Brandon Coulter, who invited the Bass University down to Watts Bar to participate in his media event. Thank you very much, Brandon. Shout-out, give a hi to your dad, Rich. Brandon's dad, Rich Coulter, was the Champion Boats rep in our region and signed me my first boat deal.
Very cool.
Back in 1796.
Wow, they had boats back then.
Yeah, they did.
I thought they were all wooden like the
the
Romans had.
They worked by sail,
Sail.
But that was a long time. He took me on the flat. As a matter of fact, I think this was my interview. We went out on the flat striper fishing.
Oh yeah.
And back, before there was, any kind of restrictions on it, anybody could fish. There's thousands of boats out there, and we'd go out there and we'd catch 100 stripers each. At least we did that day.
Wow.
And some were like 30, 40 pounders.
Oh man.
Not a lot, but one or two.
Yeah.
Those big giant
That's
females.
real big.
I'll never forget that one. One of the fish that I caught that day was probably 2 pounds, and maybe 3 pounds. A lot of those males. And a 50-pounder tried to eat it, like a strike just came right up to the boat.
Wow.
And just rolled and tried to get it. It's crazy. When we're blessed with striped bass population that run up and down the bay that we fish, and of course Brian Schmidt runs a charter to take people fishing for striped bass.
Brian Schmidt should start a lawn business, not a striper charter business, because he'd have the greenest grass possible. Right?
He would.
He's the grass master.
He is the grass master. That should be the name of his business.
Schmitty's Greens.
Yeah.
When are those swim jig videos coming out on him? They're pretty soon, right?
Very, very soon.
I'm excited about that.
I don't have the calendar sitting right in front of me, but we're going to be releasing them real soon. One of the, this is. I'm glad you brought that up, Scott, because one of the things that Schmitty talks about is the influence of his striper trips on his freshwater fishing, in particular his baits, like his swim jig. He spends a lot of time talking about the eye and the importance of the eye.
I've heard this
on the swim jig.
I've heard this with baits.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Like you could, and this is just one of many. I'm gonna give this one away, but the convex nature of the eyes that he uses capture light at many different angles. So it's different from a stuck, like a pasted on flat eye, or just painted on. It's purposefully selected so that it gives the maximum light from all the different angles. His jig, it's tremendous. It's a Hayabusa swim jig. They call it the Little Smitty.
Yeah, it's good.
And you watch this seminar, you're gonna have a tackle box full of them.
He does a lot more than just low and slow, too.
Yeah.
He's known as the low and slow guy, but he's doing a lot more.
Yeah, if you're struggling with grass fishing, this series is going to be for you. It'll change the way you think about it. We got a winner over there?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Oh, we got close.
We're seeing the right place. We're seeing the right year, but it's not together.
It's not
yet.
together.
Not together.
I had a really cool fish catch yesterday.
What'd you get?
So I pulled a double yesterday.
Nice.
And I'm literally fighting the one fish in, and I get the fish up and I can see the fish coming to me, and right in front of the troll motor, and as I see it coming, another one crushes the bait also, and I hook both of them, and now they're down there intertwined together, and I just follow it through, and I both to the carpet. I'm
Sweet.
like, wow, that was awesome. It was just cool to see the fish come up and eat.
Yeah.
With the fish.
Try to take it away from
exactly.
them.
It was sick.
It's so I've seen it just a few times all the years of fishing, but it's pretty awesome. That's usually how those doubles happen.
Yep.
You know, it's not usually hitting at the same time. It's like one's trying to get it away from the other one.
Yep.
You know,
it was neat.
You ever happen in a tournament for you?
Not that I can recall in a tournament.
It's happened to me. It's happened to me twice. I've always wind up with the small fish.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but the big one gets off and the small one is the one that comes in.
It's very hard to keep them pegged when you got two pulling against each other.
Yep. Yep, for sure. But it's do we have no winner yet? Guys, we're not giving away this prize until we get a winner. So get your thinking caps on, because we're going to be closing down this show in just a couple minutes. So we get your guesses in. But it reminds me of I want to tell the story, and I'm going to tell this story, and then we're gonna see if we have a winner.
All right.
But I'm fishing here and topwater fishing, and I found this little spot on the end of a sandbar in a grass bed throwing a walking bait, and I couldn't believe I got there first, and 100 boat tournament, and I throw out, and on my first cast, boom, fish erupts and catches about a 2.5 pounder, and I swing them into the boat. My next cast, another one. I'm like, this doesn't happen.
Another one.
It's I put my third cast out there, and it erupted, but it sounded like somebody dropped a bowling ball, and it felt weird, and it was like dragging a stump, and my line just went pop, and it took off to the side, and I swung it in, and it was another 2.5 pounder. I'm like, that was weird. It just felt bigger than that, and then I throw out there again, and I get another blow up. 4 casts in a row, and this fish halfway back, I miss him. And I throw out there again, blows up, I set, and I miss him. I'm like, man, I got to check my hooks. And I look at my walking bait, I have no hooks.
Oh, my goodness.
I have no hooks on the bait.
Took off the ring?
They busted it. Like when I think I got a double when it sounded unusual.
Yeah.
And one of them ripped one of the rear the hook off, and I'm so excited. I'm not even looking. I'm just unhooking fish. And then I threw out there again, and I got another bite, and I think that ripped the other hook off. So in the middle of a derb, I'm throwing a bait with no hooks.
It's important to have hooks.
It's important to have hooks.
Not good, Pete.
There's the Bass University lesson of the week. Make sure you have hooks on your bait. Cool. We got no winner.
We still don't have we don't have the correct combo.
We don't have.
It's there. A lot of people are getting the lake it was on, but not the year.
Tough one.
Oh,
the year, the event, and the body of water.
I can hear their Google search happening
guys,
right now.
we're gonna give you 30 more seconds. This never happens, because we did it once.
It's only ever happened one other time.
One other time. Man, because you guys are so sharp. And
quick little topwater little tip right here. So your topwater you picked.
I think we have a winner, right?
Oh, you can jump into it.
We have a winner.
The clue gave it away.
It did. Sea Lynch, you won. It was 2014 St. Lawrence River.
St. Lawrence River.
I said lake.
Excellent. Congratulations, and that's awesome.
Way
we
to
got
go.
we got a W. Got a great prize coming your way. What were you saying about the?
Oh, just when choosing the pop R style bait, looking at the actual lip design can really. There's days where so a pop R has either a cup or a push. I like the pushes personally. This has more of a push to it because it's either splashing or popping.
Yep.
And I think personally, if you can get the splash.
How do you tell by looking at it what you're going to get?
One's either going to be more of a kind of a flat push face like this kind of has, or it's going to have more of a cup.
More of a cup.
So I think personally, the splashing catches more fish because I think you can change the retrieve by pushing the water better with a push face than with a popping face.
So more concave.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a little tidbit on your topwater baits, guys.
Cool.
Hey, thanks for watching. We're going to be back next week with another episode of Bass University Live. Look for that. Look for the amazing content that's going to be released. Get over and get subscribed. This is the time to get schooled up. Right, Scott? This is the time. This is
time to get schooled up.
This is the fall. Hey, if you're not on the water as much, if you're sitting around watching the Phillies win the World Series, you can have Bass University on in the background like I do.
Yeah.
Go check it out. It's a great time to bring your fishing up to the next level. And Cooper Gallant, I want to advise you to go watch Drew Cook's sight fishing seminar. And I promise you, I want to advise anybody that wants to get better at that particular skill set. That is a premium seminar that will help you a lot. So thank you, GDP.
Yep.
Thanks, Josh, Rich, Scott.
I got one more shout out. So
Talk
the
to me.
coolest thing, man, when you go out to Bass U Nation, you do a tournament, and your co-angler is a Bass U member, right? So down at James both days,
What?
we had 2 members. So I want to give a shout out to Ernest Stevens and my day 2 guy, Chris McMullen. Great vet. The guy has some great stories. We had a great time, and they're both dedicated Bass U members, and they were super excited.
Ernest and Chris,
Woo-hoo.
thank you,
Thank you guys.
for being part of the program. We see them all over the country, and we really appreciate you guys. And we're going to be seeing a lot of you guys on the Elite Trail this year and at the Classic. So make sure you stop by and say hi. We will see you next week. I'm Pete Gluzak for Bass University. See you guys.
Take care.